The UFC recently announced a new television series called The Power Slap, and there have been mixed feelings from people regarding it. While there's some hype about the show, hardcore fight fans aren't too impressed with UFC's involvement in it. Today, we're going to be diving into the new TV show and see some of the reactions to it from the fans and fighters. First off, UFC fans were disappointed by its involvement with Power Slap. UFC President Dana White has been a successful businessman for some years now, and it seems that whatever he touches turns to gold, as he has raked in success from every venture he's been involved in. White now looks to mimic the success he found in MMA with UFC. The UFC boss recently launched the Slap Fights competition because he believes audiences deserve a major slap fighting tournament. The Power Slap League is the first of its kind slap fighting tournament and has an incredible roster. White took to social media to make things official and announce his first slap fighter, but the fans felt it to be inappropriate and criticized the UFC Supremo in the comment section. Dana posted a video on Instagram from the official UFC handle. The clip features his first batch of Power Slap strikers in Ryan Phillips. White wanted to make several such clips in a series he calls Power Slap, Road to the Title, but the fans didn't take it too well. The UFC boss plans to introduce several slap fights to the UFC audience so that he can gain the support of loyal UFC fans to kickstart his new venture. But rather than gathering some steam for the new show, the video seems to have the opposite effect. The clip has angered fight fans who are not too impressed with the involvement of their favorite sport with slap fighting. Next, let's look at some of the fan reactions. Fan sentiment is a fickle thing, and Dana seems to have overplayed his hand on this one. Loyal MMA fans feel that the association of their favorite sport with slap fighting is a disgrace. They hold it sacred, and this coming from White is nothing short of betrayal. According to the reaction of some really angry fans, White has failed terribly with his new business plan. They have ripped Dana's Instagram post to shreds, questioning the logic behind posting it from the official UFC handle. To them, there's no connection between UFC and the new slap fighting show, except that it has the same owner. Some of the fans questioned who actually thought the new show was a good idea and who would even watch something like this. To many, slap fight isn't a sport, and getting behind it like this is the ever. A fan also reminded the UFC boss that he thinks soccer is stupid and goes on to put his name on slap fighting, which we have to admit is kinda true. Another guy was also wondering that if this is a sport now, then what do the training sessions for it look like? People were also mad that the UFC would rather pour their money into something like this than pay their fighters. Fans also call for White's head and ask that the 53-year-old be kicked out of his position. In their eyes, he has betrayed the sport, the athletes, the fans, and everything they stand for. Now, let's find out some more about Dana's new show. The Power Slap League is set to make its debut on TV in January 2023. The show will be available on TBS, and the first season will feature 8 one-hour episodes. It will have the best slappers from around the world, competing for championship titles across multiple weight classes. It is expected that this will be the first of many seasons to come, depending on how the viewers respond. But from what we've seen so far, the reception hasn't been too great for it. During the press conference for the show, Dana White told the media that he's really into the tournament concept and is looking forward to the premiere of the first season. He also added that there were a lot of health and safety concerns for the participants when they first announced the show, but he believes that UFC being involved makes it much safer. White announced that Frank Lamasella will be the president of the new TV series, and he'll be the one handling day-to-day operations. Power Slap League secured their state regulation from NSAC last month, making the show legit. They have also started building their roster through open tryouts and currently have around 150 potential contestants. This includes both male and female potential participants across different weight categories, but the number is going to be whittled down for the final roster before the show's debut on TBS. The show will go up sometime in January, though the exact date has yet to be confirmed. Coming up, the rules for the slap fighting tournament. It will take some time for the fans to learn all of the new rules and terminology, as is the case for any new sport, but the Nevada Athletic Commission has released the first round of rules and regulations for the new Power Slap League. The two athletes in slap fighting will stand across from each other and slap their opponent one at a time. The contestant slapping is called the striker, and the one receiving the slap is called the defender. The Power Slap League will have 3-round and 5-round matches. The striker will have to stand in a box with both feet on the ground. They'll even have to specify how many wind-ups they use before striking. There will be 2 referees present to make sure that the slap lands correctly on the allowed region of the face. The striker must land the slap using the whole of their hand. The fingers and palm must make an impact at the same time. On the other hand, the defender is not allowed to defend at all. They can't flinch or tuck their chin, and they must hold a power slap stick behind their back with both hands. Each round will be scored out of 10, and the fight will end by either knockout or decision. If the defender is knocked down, they will have a 10 count to get back up. If they are knocked out in the first round, they can receive up to 2 minutes to regain consciousness before they can continue. Moving on to other news, what MMA figures think about Power Slap League. First up, Sean O'Malley thinks it'll be a failure. Talking on his YouTube channel, O'Malley has offered his 2 pence on Dana White's new business venture. He thinks that having a bunch of unregulated competitors is a recipe for disaster. He went on to say that taking 16 people who want to become famous overnight and putting them all under one roof is insane. Locking them up in a house for 6 weeks with free alcohol and food and letting them slap each other to death is a fiasco waiting to happen. He compared the show's format to The Ultimate Fighter, but he thinks that it's even crazier than that. For the Power Slap League, contestants don't even have to make weight and be in shape. They can eat, drink, and smoke whatever they want, and will still be allowed to perform. He added that it'll probably affect their performance, but they could still do it. The bantamweight fighter also admitted that it'll be kind of entertaining too. He said it'll be like a bunch of roommates fighting each other, but instead of actually fighting, they'll just be slapping each other around. There have been concerns regarding the dangers of this all, since the blows are only to the face and head. The UFC Chief Business Officer, Hunter Campbell, insists that the Power Slap League will have safety standards in place. According to him, it'll have certain medical standards, weight classifications, and matchmaking similar to MMA. He also added that the weight classes will be regulated. The participants will also have to use mouth guards and earplugs, and there'll be penalties for fouls. Next, let's see what Joe Rogan had to say. Dana White's longtime friend and colleague Joe Rogan is not too hot with the idea of the Power Slap League. On one of his podcast shows with Sean O'Malley, the pair of them discussed the UFC boss's new slap fighting tournament. The UFC color commentator stated that he's not sold on the idea of slap fighting as a sport, while talking on the Joe Rogan Experience. Rogan said that he loves White and will watch the show because of him, but it isn't his cup of tea. He went on to say that he likes problem solving and puzzles. He likes the intricate details of an MMA fight, quoting Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan as an example. Finally, the Notorious also shared his views on Dana's new venture. After watching the clip Dana posted, Conor McGregor took to Twitter and declared his newfound love for the show. He stated that he likes watching some good quality clatters and followed it up up with some questions about the show. The show seemed to have piqued the Irishman's interest, as he asked White if this madness was his, and said he wanted to be a part of one too. McGregor straight up challenged Nate Diaz to a slap fight for the title. He taunted the Stockton Slapper by saying he'd have a better chance of winning a title in slapping than in the UFC. Diaz responded by sharing a clip of him slapping Conor during their first fight, and said that he had already beaten him at this game too. The Stockton brawler went on to tweet more clips and images of him putting a beating on McGregor, telling him that he had knocked down Conor faster than Floyd and submitting him better than Khabib, finally ending it with a boom roasted to silence the notorious. It's unlikely that the two men will meet in the octagon for their third battle, as Diaz recently ended his contract with the UFC, but we might see them settle their deciding battle in a promotional match for the Power Slap League. So guys, with that, we come to the close of this video. What are your thoughts on Dana's new TV show? We admit that it might be fun to watch, but was associating it with UFC the right move? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.